New today, progress continues for one area in the town of Ball, which saw major erosion of one of its roads due to the flooding. KALB's Colin Vidros takes a look at the next steps to the project's completion.
Crews with Merrick Construction clearing out and restoring Burma Road Tuesday morning after last fall's severe rain and flooding caused a portion of the road to cave in.
We had a washout on Burma that put us in a really bad predicament.
This was the scene in November 2024 after flooding and erosion created a hole nearly 7 feet below the surface.
It was such an inconvenience for our kids. Some had to bring their children to another stop, and we understand that.
Now, the process continues to construct 3 new culverts, a new concrete and asphalt roadway, and a guardrail along the shoulder, all at the completion of the project.
I never, ever thought a culvert would be beautiful. But let me tell you one thing. I have changed my mind. Culverts are beautiful.
In 2022, the town of Ball received $3.5 million for flood mitigation projects thanks to the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, a $1.9 trillion economic stimulus bill aimed to address the continued impact of COVID-19.
I think in the long run, everybody is happy with the project. You can see what's been done. You can be proud. It's beautiful.
The work on Burma Road is projected to wrap up Phase 1 in May. In Ball for News Channel 5, I'm Colin Vidros.